What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of the Occasional Dilemma Gaming Podcast. I, of course, am your host, Stando, and with me this week is a fine group of outstanding young men. First, we'll start off with Mr. Technical Difficulty himself, Tech Gladiator. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing, man?
Doing pretty good. Have you gotten a chance this week to play any games in your busy schedule?
What's the last thing I played? I think the last thing I remember playing is PUBG with you last week. Or last Saturday, yeah. Or not last Saturday, last Wednesday, yeah.
Yep. And we played PlayerUnknown's again today. You've not played anything over Thanksgiving weekend or anything?
Nah, I've been working on coding.
Okay, cool. How are you doing?
Doing good. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. Fantastic. And we got with us, he doesn't know his left from his right, his east from his west, Mr. Tilgar. How you doing, Tilgar?
Hey, I'm going north.
The man wearing the transport backpack.
Tilgar Pole with us. You've been playing some Wolfenstein The New Order, or not The New Order, Wolfenstein 2 The New Colossus. Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Pretty good?
So, yeah. Of course, I've been playing some other games too.
What else you been playing?
Well, I've been replaying Fallout 4. I never updated my Fallout 4, so I updated because I had the old.
Right.
I updated the new survival mode, freaking out there. Or new to me. I mean, I just never realized I never updated Fallout 4 since I first got it.
So you're playing survival mode and Fallout 4. Oh, awesome.
Uh-huh.
And are you surviving?
Yes, I am surviving. So I'm using it.
Were you playing survival mode before?
Yeah, but I never, because when they first came out with survival mode, you could save at certain spots. You didn't have to.
He's talking about the updated survival mode.
Can you take a look at the Discord real quick?
What's that?
I'll look at it real quick. But you've also been playing some
Flat Earth. You played some Shadowrun.
Shadowrun, yeah. So that's good. That's good. We
Flat
also
Earth Society has members all around the globe. Say that again. That's
I didn't pay attention to that. Yeah.
the Flat Earth Society has members all around the globe. It's a meme that he put in
around the globe
in the thing. But we also got with this. He only buys everything, especially if it's a loot box. The Raging Sins. What's up, buddy?
The big whale. Woohoo!
You just call me a fucking fat Tilgar?
No, he's the guy who keeps those
Keeps those servers
EA
online,
and
right?
stuff going.
EA thinks you're a treasure trove, man.
The thing is, I haven't even bought anything from EA.
We're teasing, Sins. We're teasing. What have you been
You're the
playing?
kind of person that EA wants, so they're already failing. They can't even get you.
What's Sin's been up to? What have you been playing this past week? More Assassin's Creed?
I haven't played anything. I've been so busy. I don't have time to play games. That
wow. But you need to jump back into Assassin's Creed, man. That's a good game.
I know, it's so good.
But how have you been over the week? Been doing pretty good?
Good, hanging on, just chilling.
Good.
Chilling.
And of course, I've been playing Hellblade. Senua's Sacrifice. Finished that up this week. Really good game. Jumped back into Assassin's Creed Origins to do some end game stuff yesterday. Started on the end game. Unlocked the what do you call it? The First Civilization armor. That was pretty cool. So
that's from the Sphinx thing, right?
yeah. We got Chase of Brooklyn joining us in chat now, and Steins Cat. I want to say hello to them. If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, the Occasional Dilemma Gaming Podcast airs live every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, over on the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Occasional Dilemma Gaming. If you for some reason can't watch it live, you can always head over to occasionaldilemma.com/podcast, and you can either watch it there in video form or download an MP3 and take it with you on the go. Appreciate all you Podomatic listeners out there, and appreciate all you guys watching it on YouTube. Make sure you never miss an episode and stay up to date as you can. You can follow us on Twitter at StandoODG, and you can follow us over on YouTube, youtube.com/occasionaldilemma-gaming.
Can I watch it on my Walkman?
You can.
Listen to it on my Walkman?
Yeah, you can listen to it on your Walkman as long as your Walkman supports MP3s.
I don't know about that.
Oh, okay. But we've got several topics to go over today. Many of you know the topics. Do you want to start off with EA is back in the news? We can't go a week without talking about EA, because every time I think that we're done talking about EA does something stupid. Literally.
Right.
So do you guys want to talk about that, or do you want to start off on one of the lighter topics?
Well, EA's great. What are you talking about? They're a great company. They put out great products.
They are.
All I know is Sins is still going to support EA by Battlefield 2.
Absolutely. Once it comes on sale, it doesn't change the fact that the game itself is good.
Is it? I don't know. I mean, I have no idea.
From what I've seen, besides the whole loot box scandal, the game itself still looks like a good game. The multiplayer looks fun.
Well, let's get into this. CFO had some interesting things to say this week about microtransactions in Star Wars Battlefront 2, further distancing himself and the company from their core audience, the gamers. If you didn't know, right, EA is already in trouble. Their stock price took a $3.5 million dip.
Billion.
Not even FIFA that.
$3.5 billion.
Billion dollars. Not
billion.
Even.
I mean, that's a freaking lot of money.
Not even FIFA that only makes $800 million a year is going to bail them out of this one. I mean, they're still good. They're still up overall over the previous year, but $3.5 billion. If you're the CFO of the company, do you really come out right now talking about microtransactions and how you want to bring them back and not give up on your ways? I don't know, guys. I just don't know this guy. If you didn't know, the CFO, of course, is Blake Jorgensen. I'm reading it off the GameSpot site right here real quick. EA, after the chip bag rolls by.
My chip bag.
No, I'm done. I've been done with mine.
Tilgar's got a fucking cellar and a mini fridge right beside him. I tell you what.
Yeah, I know, right? Reading this.
I do have a fridge behind me.
Yeah,
I have a fridge next to me too, but it's empty.
Mine's got all kinds of shit in it.
EA made a surprise move earlier this month when, hours before the game's release, the company pulled all microtransactions out of Star Wars Battlefront 2. Just hours before the game's release. This was done in response to extreme pressure from fans who were rightly concerned about the impact that players buying Battlefront 2's loot crates could have an effect on gameplay balance, as in they were pay to win. Now, EA CFO Blake Jorgensen has addressed EA's decision and discussed where things go from here. He says, quote, listening to the consumer when they start playing the game 6 months from now, and even 6 years from now, is very important to us. Oh, is it? I would say if we're not making some mistakes along the way and learning from them, that's when you should worry about us. But our view is had great opportunities for us to continue to tune the game to adjust these things. We pulled off on microtransactions because the real issue the consumer had was they felt it was pay-to-win mechanic. The reality is there are different types of players in games. Some people have more time than money, and some people have more money than time. But you want to find a perfect balance between those two. No.
No.
Yeah.
That's the worst excuse you can have.
So go out and buy some Battlefront 2, right, Sins? This is coming from the CFO's mouth, man. Go ahead, Tech.
Oh no, I was just going along with what you guys were saying. Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to double down on this progression behind paywall thing. I guarantee it. Jorgensen was asked why that isn't the route EA and DICE pursued when it comes to cosmetics, and he says, quote, the only one thing we're very focused on, and we're extremely focused on, is not violating the canon of Star Wars. It's amazing, an amazing brand that's built over many, many years. So if you did a bunch of cosmetic things, you might start to violate the canon. Darth Vader in white probably doesn't make sense versus in black. Not to mention, you probably don't want Darth Vader in pink. No offense to pink, but I don't think that that's the right canon.
That's not the kind of thing stuff that. That's just insane. That's not the
he goes on.
Cosmetic stuff that people pick.
He goes on. Quote, we're not giving up on the notion of microtransactions. We're learning and listening to the community in terms of how best to roll that out in the future. And there's more to come as we learn. But I would say we're certainly not changing our strategy. We think the strategy of deeply engaging games, keeping the community together, and allowing people to play those games with new content coming via events over time is critical to our future of a business. We feel like we've nailed that in sports games, and we'll continue to try to find the best model that works in non-sports games. Of course, he's referring to the FIFA model, which is, the Dream Team model that FIFA uses is pretty much the Star Wars model that they've got going on now. Guys, that's not all. Data miners, I found this after I posted my video today on the matter. Again, that video is over on the YouTube channel. Data miners have uncovered that there were already different races that were programmed into the game. They're there. You can actually, if you edit the code a little bit, view them. You can't use them, but you can view them. There's different officer classes. There's different uniforms. There's all these cosmetic stuff within the game. Not only that, excuse me, but they had cosmetic microtransactions in Battlefield 1. And on top of that, this does not explain away the progression loot boxes in Need for Speed, their other game, Need for Speed Payback, which is used in progression microtransactions with the power-up cards. So let's get a full conversation and just get this out of the way, because I'm so tired of talking about EA. Tech Gladiator, you go ahead.
Okay, so if I'm beyond words. Actually, it's because it's just insane. Okay, so yeah, like you said, there was cosmetic microtransactions in the first Battlefront.
Yes.
So that didn't seem to affect the canon or anything.
No.
So now they're just worried, you don't want to have a white Darth Vader or a pink
Not to
Darth
mention,
Vader.
Let me reiterate.
So those are the only kind of cosmetic things people would get. Just
in order to make himself look like the good guy, he's kind of throwing Disney under the bus and being like, well, we got to get permission from them to use this and that. Well, you got permission before, you know what I mean?
Right.
And look, he had to take it to one extreme by saying pink Darth Vader. Nobody asked for pink Darth Vader. And, there's how many outfits have we seen Luke Skywalker in right now?
Yeah.
And why not put a Darth Vader?
Darth Vader's the only character that only ever wore one thing.
Not only that,
after he became Darth Vader anyway.
Well, you can do Darth Vader without the helmet. You can do Anakin Skywalker Darth Vader. You can do Anakin Skywalker before he becomes Darth Vader. I mean, there's so many things you can do there. So, I don't know. It's mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. Plus, there was what's the other race that was in the data mine, the Yinlik, the green people, the purple people in Star Wars with the long tentacle coming out of their brain.
What the fuck's her name? I can't remember what her name is.
Those were in there. I mean, they had Greedo's race was in there. I mean, come on, nobody's buying it. What else you got, Tech? What else you want to say?
I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Seems kind of a little bullish, doesn't it?
Ridiculous. They just lost $3.5 billion
Yeah.
because people are so pissed off about microtransactions and they're trying to defend it. It's like,
yeah.
so they just have to. They just like, we gotta have microtransactions. Oh, they don't want cosmetic ones. Make it a grind, and we just got to make the game longer to play, doing stupid, meaningless stuff, so that you can work to get
What
that.
did-
So that
what did you
wanna
think
just
about
buy
that?
it instead?
The one quote where he's talking about more people have time than money. Some people have more money
That's
than
such a
time.
bullshit thing to say.
Yeah,
That's
I mean
just-
that may be true. So, but basically, it sounds like they're trying to exploit both of them. So people who don't have money must have a whole lot more time. So, like, oh, you don't have money, so you must have a lot of hands.
I'm going to come back around to
That's not
myself,
necessarily the case.
in my opinion, after everybody's done. Let's hear from Togar Pole real quick.
Look at Knights of the Old Republic. Is that really canon? Or is
No.
that exclusively based on canon?
Let me ask you this. Looking at Star Wars Battlefront, period, is Yoda fighting Darth Maul in the middle of the freaking
Yeah.
Naboo canon? No.
Disney understands these are games and that, they're not core canon.
That's just a dumb excuse.
So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You look at these games here, like Knights of the Old Republic online game, it's, of course that takes way before the movies do, but still, I don't think that's just loosely based on canon. Like I said, Battlefield. I haven't played the Battlefield Star Wars, so I don't know how much canon is in that.
Okay.
But again, assuming for the fun of the game, that is only loosely based on canon. It's not,
Right.
taking it verbatim. They have room to maneuver. Is what I'm trying to say. I guess. So that's basically a damn poor excuse to fall back on that. Oh, we don't want to upset the canon Disney has on Star Wars. That's just a cop out.
Perfect
It
word.
really is. So it's
Yeah.
just a cop out. They're trying to make excuses to make themselves look better, and
But there's
and they,
no excuse
and they
for
fudge
it.
it. They push it to the extreme, and they had a pushback. And what did I tell you, Stando? Earlier about microtransactions. Until they have a pushback, you're just going to see it continue. Until
Right.
they get a pushback.
Well, now we're going to see it continue, even though there is a pushback and even though they are bleeding money, which seems so bullish to me. It seems like
because it's stock, it's not actually that
Well,
$3.5 billion
well,
is gone.
let me
As long as
put
they
this
don't
into
sell for stock,
perspective.
they don't lose that money.
Right. Let me put this into perspective for you too, though. Even though that's stocks, you still got to consider that Star Wars Battlefront 2 is down 60%
Now,
from
that is
Battlefield 1.
So, and don't get me wrong, $3.5 billion in stock still telling. But that's if your stocks go back up, that's recoverable. Not selling your game, it's not recoverable.
Video game sequels should outsell the first game, not.
Not
Is it-
necessarily.
Is it almost like a repeat of?
But you shouldn't.
How much money was
come down
lost
this
when
fast.
that ET game back in the '80s tanked Atari?
Not very much. That guy did it in one day. Seriously, ET was made in one day, and the Atari market was already crashing because they.
The game was made in one day.
Yeah, that was the problem. That's why Atari and the video game crash happened here in the U.S. is because of so much shovelware, so much
But isn't that game
licensed
worth quite a bit now?
licensed shovelware too. So that's what caused the market to crash for video games was licensed shovelware, and they were cranking those games out in a day or two. Yes.
Yeah, they were.
Yep. It was
But,
usually
yeah.
one or two guys that were working hard to get it out in a week or something like that. Yep. Like the full manufacturing process from developing the game to putting it on the rack and mass producing it was like 2 weeks. Yeah. Yep. Sins. I haven't talked to you yet. Let's go.
I don't have any words for it. I mean,
No words for it.
Here's
Come
where
in.
it's-
the people that have more money don't have enough time people that don't have enough money have more time.
That doesn't.
That's
basically
like people
just
to
saying
stray from
poor
their
people
fucking ass.
just have too much time on their hand.
Yep.
It's not a valid point. It's not a valid excuse.
Yeah, not valid.
And that just lets you know what rich people think of right there. Like, let's make it super hard for poor people because they have
It's
all
like
kinds
they're
of time.
trying to make video games seem like it's a chore, like it's something that you're being forced to do. When in reality, it's something you do for fun. No matter how much time you have, you get a little bit of gaming in.
Mm-hmm.
But trouble is, with these progressive loot boxes, and so you got to do a grind to get progression. To me, that makes it a chore. You want the game to be fun. Like I said, you saw Stando play Assassin's Creed there, and it was a fun game. Play those side missions, gain the levels, but they're like separate missions that have a story back to it. Makes it fun. Same with Witcher 3. Side missions were a bunch of stories, so you can gain extra levels if you want to. But didn't feel like a grind. It was fun. I don't know how bountiful it is, but it sounds like it's going to be a grind to get same missions over and over and over. But like I said, again, I don't play those games. I haven't, so I really can't say. But it's the same old. This mission's the same story as this mission, same story as this mission, so on and so on and so on.
Well,
Or is it like Witcher 3 or Assassin's Creed?
Here's one of my biggest things with these microtransactions anyway, is you'll hear developers come out and, like, we heard them saying it when Shadow of War was coming out, and we heard them say it when Star Wars Battlefront 2 was coming out, that it gives the player more choice to have these microtransactions in the game. No, it doesn't. It really limits your choice, especially if you're an 8-year-old kid wanting to play the game. Because they don't have millions of dollars to throw at the game. So it's not fair to them that someone who does have that kind of money to throw at the game really can outperform them on every single level just because that they can pay to unlock their guns, where this little kid has to sit there and go the very, very long way. What was it? 4,000 hours to unlock everything in the game thereabouts. That's crazy. Come on.
And the thing is too is it's not even necessary to have the same kind of stuff you get from microtransaction games, but at no cost. It was just part of the game.
Yeah.
And it didn't take as much time to get it for free. So now they're just starting to charge for something that they used to give away for free.
So, but I just wanted to make it clear that's the environment EA is fostering right now. Is sorry, kid, our Star Wars game isn't for you because you don't have the money to crank into this son of a bitch. You know what I mean? Like,
right?
They're not directly coming out and saying that, but they might as well.
For the money.
Yeah, obviously.
Again, like I said, they're saying, they never cared about players' choice.
No.
They never cared about.
They don't care about players' time.
Because,
they don't care about players'
choice,
money.
More options for the players. They didn't care. You're looking at, this is a way we can milk them for some more money.
And it is a milking too, because we were talking about this. Heaven forbid that they sell enough copies of a franchise, because you've got to Star Wars. Heaven forbid you rely on this movie to help advertise the game and actually sell. Like I said it earlier today, and I still stand by this. If other companies can figure out how to make a proper game without microtransactions and without all the bullshit, and make single player games and make them count, what is EA still doing in this business? They're the biggest publisher in the company. They're the biggest publisher in the gaming industry. What are they still doing in this business if they can't figure out how to make that work?
And look at that. There's a limit. Just look at Activision's Call of Duty. It came out, did $500 million in copies. Of course, they have microtransactions on top of theirs too, but they sold $500 million.
That game's got a full-fledged single-player game that's been, critically reviewed too.
I mean,
which game?
Well received.
Hey, they don't really need those damn microtransactions. They made $500 million.
Which game you talking about was well received?
Call of Duty World War II, the single-player campaign.
Period, right, Stando?
Yeah.
So I don't know what their actual totals are, but $500 million in a 3-day or 4-day period. That paid for all their production to develop the game, paid for their advertising and marketing, and gave them a bunch of profit on top of that. And this is before any microtransactions. So you can make a game without having to worry about microtransactions.
Yeah.
Microtransactions is just, you know, more, just putting more icing on top. That's all it is. They just want more money from you. So.
When Electronic Arts closed down Visceral Games, by the way, let's move on to the next EA topic. EA obviously closed down the Visceral Games studio and announced that the studio in development of Star Wars was changing directions significantly. And some wondered if this had to do with the game's more linear single-player nature, because they were afraid that since they're not going to be able to make microtransactions on this, that it would... that's why EA closed it, because they're not able to make enough money in it. It turns out they were right. Jorgensen went on, because he can't keep his mouth shut, and said, quote, "As we kept reviewing the game, it continued to look like a much more linear game, which people don't like as much today as they did 5 years ago or 10 years ago." And he also said that the Star Wars game really pushed gameplay to the next level. He acknowledged that Visceral was a subscale studio staffed by around 80 people, which is on the smaller side of AAA games. But he ultimately said that they were... where is it? This is not the site that I wanted to read this off of because I only have part of the quote. Give me just a second, guys. And I'm going to pull up I think it's the Polygon. Had the full quote. Yeah, here we go. The game was to be a single-player action-adventure game similar to Naughty Dog's Uncharted game set in the Star Wars universe. And EA and we all know how well the Uncharted games have done, by the way. I just want to point that out. It was even being directed by the Uncharted creative director, Amy Hennig, who was put onto this. Throughout the development process, we have been testing the game concept with players, listening to feedback about how they wanted to play, and closely tracking fundamental shifts in the marketplace was the original quote put out there by him when they decided to close down the studio. And he's gone on to say that it all comes down to economics, really, at the end of the day. That if it's not going to make money for you, you've got to burn that bridge and cancel, close the game and move on, because it's not going to make you a whole lot of money. Basically, I can't find the exact quote, but that's basically what he said today, and that nobody likes single player games anymore.
That's BS too, right there.
Well, the more accurate quote would be not as much money single player maybe versus a multiplayer game, because of the microtransactions in the damn multiplayer game.
Here's some more quotes. After we kept reviewing the game, it continued to look like a solid game, a much more linear game that people don't like as much today as they did 5 years ago or even 10 years ago. We made the tough decision to shut down that game team and take the parts of the game, and today we're looking at what we're going to do with those. We'll make the game within a different style and a different studio. We will use parts of the game in other games. We're trying to go through that today. This truly isn't about whether it was single player or not. Storytelling has always been a part of who we are. This also isn't about needing the game that monetizes in a certain way. Those are both important topics, but that's not what this is. At the end of the day, this was a creative decision. Our job is to give people a deep enough experience and story, and it's also to push boundaries forward. We just didn't think we were getting it quite right. And then he goes on to say, it was, at the end of the day, it really came down to economics. That even though they were making a fantastic game that pushed the boundaries and pushed the boundaries as far as gameplay innovation goes, at the end of the day, you have to burn the bridge when you realize that your product's not going to make any money.
It would have made money.
Well, it would have made bukus of money.
It would have made a lot of money.
Not only that, but let's talk about, pretty much he's saying nobody likes linear single player games. We've seen Uncharted do well. The Last of Us do well. Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice that you're seeing on your screen right now that I got to play. Fantastic game, by the way. Did well. The Witcher series.
Oh, such a good fucking series.
Is it not? I mean, come on.
I could
man.
play that game hundreds of times over and over.
Wolfenstein 2, the New Colossus linear game. Is it linear, Toga, or is it open world?
Yeah, it's linear.
Linear.
I'm getting to some where you can have some side missions and stuff to do.
Wasn't Last of Us a linear game, or was a linear game?
Last of Us is a linear game. Yeah.
Oh,
very
I
much
didn't know that. I thought it was a open world game.
No. Naughty Dog only makes linear. That's all they do is linear storytelling games.
Oh, well, that's kind of a little disappointing to me.
But even if you do take open world games like Grand Theft Auto, they got this huge sprawling open world, but they're single player, very linear. The story missions are linear. You know what I mean? Like
I kind of like
Dead Cells.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with linear single player games. There are still good linear single player games.
Dishonored,
like
great game.
Right, and but I mean, I think I prefer more kind of open-ended stories that aren't exactly linear, but that doesn't mean that linear ones are bad, especially if they're really well done.
Well, look at how many RPGs are out there and stuff. I mean, even if they wanted to make it more pseudo open world, you know, like the last Tomb Raiders or the last 2 Uncharted games.
Which would be
I
great.
think
I'd
at the
love
end
to
of
have
the
a Star Wars
day,
game back.
microtransactions and loot boxes don't work in that game model. And I honestly believe, because the CFO went on record saying, no, the gameplay was innovative and great, but nobody plays those games anymore, which is a blatant lie when you're looking at this year with single player games coming out that have made bank this year. You know what I mean? Nier Automata, Neo, Persona 5, Horizon Zero Dawn. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying, but I think if you want to go, hey, we want to control on a multiplayer platform because we believe that's where we see more money's being made. I can understand doing it that way. There isn't a place for single player games. There is a place, and there is money to be made there. If you just don't want to concentrate your efforts there because you think there's a better growth in some other aspect of gaming, then that's fine. That's your company to do it as your stockholders deem fit.
But don't lie about it.
But don't lie about it. Yeah, just don't lie about it. I mean, there's money to be made in single player games.
And we've seen EA talks about making single player games, right? Well, they've not made a single player game since Mirror's Edge 2, which was back in 2011 before Jorgen took over the company.
Boxes and all this microtransactions better than single player games.
I mean, they really haven't. If like Dead Space 3, even it being a single player linear game, they bought this. They bought these companies that put out these single player games, then tainted those companies with the microtransactions, and then when the new EA owned title doesn't do well, they closed that studio down. They don't make single player. It's just confusing. Just confusing.
And like I said, I don't know what the business model is, because sometimes the business model is, hey, we're buying this property mainly because we want right to the titles that you hold. We give you a chance to put out a game, but we're putting all these limitations on you. So if it doesn't do well, we close it down, but we still own all the rights.
Yeah, that was one of the problems with the Visceral Studio. Is one of the things that put the studio behind was trying to make them figure out how to use the Frostbite engine for a third-person game when the engine's clearly designed for first-person shooter mechanics. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of tools that you don't have that you're trying to rework and build. It's just, it's crazy.
And they put limitations on it, and EA's none of that. But you got to keep on mind, even though they buy these studios, they're also buying the property that those studios own too. So they're still getting their money.
Let's talk about.
You kill a studio when you got some good creative talent there, and that's why you bought them in the first place.
Let's talk about Call of Duty World War II real quick. Microtransactions come to Call of Duty World War II with certain additions of guns only being able to be found within these elite boxes. Also, XP boost are in these boxes, making it more of a pay-to-win scenario, possibly, maybe, because if you buy a whole bunch of boxes and you get a whole lot of XP boosts, you can certainly rank up and level through your progression before anybody else. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of games that have that in there. So.
They started doing that though, like Call of Duty kind of started doing that at least with Advanced Warfare, if not sooner. Because
Advanced Warfare didn't have that.
No, it did. It had.
They had loot boxes, but it was all cosmetic. It wasn't XP boost.
No, you got.
They had XP weekends.
No, they did have unique versions of guns too.
What game are you talking about?
Have unique.
Well, yeah, they had unique versions of guns, but they didn't have XP boosts.
No, it did have XP boosts.
In the loot boxes?
Boosts. Yeah, XP boosts. It had special versions of guns, like better versions of guns. Like I got like a really good version of this one gun. Once I got it, I started doing a lot better in matches once I got it.
Could you buy those loot boxes then? I can't remember.
No, I did not buy them.
You couldn't.
What game?
But now you can buy them.
Call of Duty Advanced Warfare.
Now you can buy them.
Call of Duty.
I think you could buy them then too. I think I'm not 100%. I might be wrong on that. So correct me if I'm wrong on that. But I think you could buy them.
I don't think either you couldn't buy them or the XP boost wasn't in there, because the reason this is a big deal,
or you didn't need to buy them because they were so easy to get. Like you got them every match and everything. So,
like by the thousand. I don't think you bought them.
It wasn't a huge buy.
I don't think you could buy them yet because we were getting them 5 or 6 a match. I mean, it was something
we
crazy.
would get like all kinds of. Yeah, we got all. I think what you did was you didn't buy the crates. I think you got in-game currency that you used to get them or something.
Right.
I can't remember.
But you couldn't buy that either.
You may have been able to buy you couldn't buy the currency either.
No, I don't think so. I think this is.
But they were starting to do it.
They were
They were experimenting, I think, to see how much people
now,
are interested.
To be fair,
free now and then charge it for you later.
But to be fair, I don't know about Black Ops 3 or Infinite Warfare. I do know that they put the loot boxes in Modern Warfare Remastered, which originally didn't have them, and I also know that they double charged for the map packs in. Like the map packs for Call of Duty 4 remastered cost double of what they did when they originally released, and they weren't part of the remaster to begin with, which was kind of stupid.
Right.
Plus,
even Skyrim Special Edition included all the DLC as part.
Plus, that game was behind a paywall where you had to buy Infinite Warfare for 18 months, so you had to pay $80 to play Modern Warfare. For the first 18 months. They
finally did release it separate, but long after, which I knew it would, but you had to wait a long time.
But I think the point I'm trying to get out of this story is EA's not the only ones that are shady out there, guys.
No, they're just the ones getting all the attention. Because they kind of went too far. They just pushed it too far. I think part of the reason why EA is getting it though is doing it with Star Wars. I think if they didn't try to get away with it on such a high profile thing like Star Wars.
Bingo. This is Mama's getting involved. That's why you're seeing like government officials starting to get involved, because Mamas are getting mad. Mama's not mad. If Mama not happy, nobody happy.
Right. Right.
What do you think, Tugger?
I mean, I don't play that game, so it's just hard for me to.
Hard for you to come in. Got you.
But I know Dex played Call of Duty, so I have a tendency to go on his side there a little bit. Because I know he's a big Call of Duty
nerd
player, so I think he probably knows he knows what's in those loot boxes and stuff better than some others.
The Raging Sins.
What's up?
What do you think?
What are you even talking about?
Call of Duty World War II microtransactions.
I'm sorry, I'm busy with my game. I don't know.
Keep in mind, there hasn't been a backlash against Call of Duty World War II, obviously, because people are buying that game left and right. It seems like so.
There's so many other game developers and game companies out there that are doing the same stuff that EA is doing, but EA's in the spotlight because of the name of the game, because it's such a big brand and a big game.
Yeah, I think that's but it might be enough to expose it to where other companies. We need to shy away from this. Plus, there already companies specifically saying like, "Hey, we don't do all this stuff," or something like that. Didn't I hear something about that, Stan?
I don't know. You broke up. Say it again.
Aren't there some companies that are like actually like going out and saying, "Hey, we don't do this stuff in our games" or something?
Oh yeah, there's plenty of developers going out there. Yeah,
they're getting a good spotlight because they're one of the few that aren't doing it.
Yeah. They're getting good publicity out of this and taking advantage of the situation. Yeah, they are.
Which in a way is kind of dirty too, but hey, kicking somebody while they're down, but
I think it's good business. I think it's very good business. Even the CD Projekt Red, who made The Witcher 3, called out, we leave greed to others in their Twitter posts. Like, don't worry about Cyberpunk 2077. Don't worry about what we're doing. We leave greed to the other guys. We're trying to make this industry better. We've been trying to make this industry better for over a decade. Don't.
I just wailed.
Please don't worry.
You just wailed.
Yep.
What did you do?
I just
wailed.
wailed.
Here we are talking about microtransactions and how they are, and you just.
He's buying microtransactions, the freaking trader.
Traitor! Get him!
I'm not gonna lie.
On your sense there, I have bought microtransactions myself too. So you're not the only one.
Oh, I'll say no. I'll buy cosmetics.
Yeah,
I don't care when it comes to cosmetics.
I think I bought something one
If it's
time
something I like, then I'm gonna get it.
done
If
it.
I like it, if I enjoy it, I'm gonna get it. But when it comes to progression, microtransaction, I think it's dumb. I think it's unnecessary.
But the only things I ever paid for extra map type stuff or whatever, not any kind of cosmetic junk.
Let's keep this conversation rolling. Destiny 2 came under fire this week after the people got to the end game. If you didn't know, what happens is how it's supposed to work is that when you reach the end game, the level cap at level 20, you no longer progress levels wise. Instead, you get the bright engrams, which are Destiny's version of loot boxes for cosmetics and other items. They can also be attached to weapons to make better upgrades to your weapons and armor and things like that. But you have to take them to the microtransaction store in order to cash them in. But you can buy these bright engrams as well. Well, a lot of players noticed that after they hit the level 20 level cap, the more they played in certain game modes, the less their XP bar started to fill up, almost coming to a crawl. And Bungie has addressed this and said, hey, you know what? We're not happy with the in-game progression either. And they have listed a way to fix this, and they are saying they're going to get right on that, but they need time. They need new systems and rewards to give our most engaged players additional optional pursuits, better incentives for players who complete challenging prestige activities, better rewards and replay value for strikes, adventures, and lost sectors, private matches for competitive community. We are targeting at early 2018. We need a Crucible tuning-like adjusted supremacy scoring that is better for spawning rules, better incentive for completing Crucible matches and penalties for quitting competitive matches, continued improvements to Iron Banner and faction rallies, including uniqueness of rewards, changes to make the mod economy more interesting and impactful, ongoing improvements to exotics, including adjustments to reduce instances of duplication, new ways to send surplus currency and materials, looking at you, legendary shards, emote interface that allows you to equip salty spicy Raymond 6-shooter and flip out at the same time. And that's for their emote. Whew. So yeah, do you think this is Destiny? Do you think this is Bungie being legit? Like, yeah, you guys are right, or do you think this is Bungie being like, oh shit, we got caught? Because the more they slow that grind down in the end game, the more likely you are to buy the bright engrams. So
it's hard to see that. Hey, we're testing this game and we have a slow grind at the end here. No one notices that, huh? They put it in there to force you to
Yeah.
To make
They got caught. They got busted. But you know, the PR has been nowhere near negative as it was about the EA thing. Do you think they're handling their PR right? Do you think they're actually addressing the issue, or
I think it just can't draw as much attention.
Yeah, they're doing a spin on it, obviously, but they're seeming to coming out to address the situation. We see the players don't like it. Let's change it, and let's not double down here. Let's see if it's not coming out here and saying, "Oh shit, this is the way it needs to be and stuff here," you know, because these games don't sell otherwise. Now, they seem, from what you said, again, I haven't read this.
right?
Seems like they're trying to do the right thing after they got caught.
Yeah, right thing after they got caught. I agree. I agree completely.
Wow, EA is. It wasn't our fault.
Like, yeah, it's like you kind of feel like EA should be doing that now that they thought that they should try to, like, okay, we'll fix it. No. No, let's make it worse. Let's.
They're trying to say, what? We didn't know this, We're trying to give more choices. I mean, they're really trying to spin this, and they're not really trying to address the problem, but they're trying to spin it. It wasn't our fault. Swear.
Not our fault.
It was that guy's fault. It wasn't ours. It was the consumers. It's Disney.
All right, let's get into this. You got anything else to add there, Sins?
No.
Okay. Epic Games, the developer of the massively popular Fortnite survival shooter, now finds itself at the center of a heated debate around the ethics of punishing cheaters, after filing a lawsuit against a 14-year-old boy. Apparently, there's two sides to this, guys. The kid is a little douchebag. I'm not gonna lie. Like, he cheats in other games. He admittedly cheats. He has a YouTube channel. He promotes the fact that he cheats, and talks like it's no big deal that he's being sued. You know what I mean? So he's a little shitbag. But I mean, he is.
This good?
He's one of those kids probably haven't made videos.
Right.
Back when I used to do that on YouTube.
He's a 14-year-old kid, and Epic decided to sue him for aimbotting. Actually, the bot he was using was a third-party app that it allows the player to see through walls, one-shot players.
Just a second. I got a phone call.
Okay. But yeah, so the kid's being sued for, check this, copyright infringement, because apparently they have a copyright over the game code, and when he uses these third-party apps, it changes the code. So he's suing not only this kid, but a few other players for copyright infringement, infringing on their copyright. The mother has responded, which is crazy. She wrote a letter. Let me read the letter here. It's loading. To whom it may concern, this letter is in response to the alleged allegations of copyright infringement. No. He admitted in his YouTube video he got caught cheating. So it's no longer alleged. No, he was cheating. But this letter is in response to catching you back up. He got sued for copyright infringement for changing the game code using third-party applications that allowed him to see through walls and things. The mother said, to whom it may concern, this letter is in response to the alleged allegations, even though the boy went on his YouTube video and said, yeah, I cheated, and now I'm being sued. Alleged allegations of copyright infringement via Epic Games and Company. This company is in the process of attempting to sue a 14-year-old child. They are claiming he prepared derivative work based upon a copyrighted work and publicly performed and displayed this as such. They are also claiming he modified their game to use a cheat, live streamed it. This would, of course, fall under the Copyright Act if he did, in fact, modify their game. Epic Games has no capability of proving any form of modification. Caleb obtained existing cheats from a website with public view, not affiliated with Epic Games Inc., and use those cheats during a game with live stream via YouTube. I may add multitude of other individuals have and currently are doing this as this letter is being typed. However, Epic Games Inc. failed to legally bind underage users with their EULA agreement, which is the contract between the licensor and the purchaser, establishing the purchaser's right to use the software. This being said, the game itself was in fact free. No purchase of said game occurred. Pursuant of State of Delaware Statutory Authority 6 Delaware Code Section blah blah blah. She puts down a law. 1.2. Addition of definition of a minor. Minor means a person under the age of 18 who has not been to court emancipated. Caleb has not been court emancipated. Furthermore, according to the standardized EULA licensing agreement, use of software applications is available only to persons who can enter in legally binding contracts under acceptable law. If you are a minor under the age of 18, not competent or otherwise, do not have the capacity to enter into a legally binding contract without the consent of assistance of another person. You may use the website only under the supervision of a parent or legal guardian as applicable, who agrees to be bound by this EULA. Epic Games failed to acknowledge prior to accepting the EULA agreement by simply clicking yes. An age range drop down or parental consent drop down. Please see below references photo. So she's basically saying, hey, look, you're suing my kid. You have no proof that he cheated. Like, you have no proof that he actually modified the game himself. He got this from a third-party site. He didn't have my permission to play the game or to sign the EULA. And even if he did do it on his own, he's underage. He's not bound by Delaware law to uphold that contract agreement. Look, do you guys think Epic is going too far in suing this kid in the first place? Do you think the mother is in the right here? Do you think the kid, like Epic, should still go out? I can see it from both sides. You have a lot of people say, good, Epic's cracking down on cheaters. We don't need cheaters in our games. It makes, what do you guys think?
I think it's fucking hilarious, and I think he deserves it.
Yeah, it's hard for me to get upset because it always really pissed me off when people were cheating in video games. Like, oh my gosh. It would make me so mad. So, I don't know. I think maybe it might teach him a lesson.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of people are saying,
like fucking manners.
A lot of people are saying just ban the kid, but the problem is it's a free-to-play game. So he can just go make it a new account and get in that way. So it really doesn't do any good to ban him. Togar?
Yeah, I think they probably went a little too far. Trouble is, you want to make some examples. I mean, if you go with the lady, she's probably right that he is a minor, he can't legally bind them. But you can also say, well, he's theft of property.
How much should they sue for?
According to the law, some state laws, the parents are responsible for their kid if they break the law. So you can, instead of suing the kid, you can sue the parents.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, you sue the freaking parents. Parents are going, kid, you're grounded for freaking life.
And there's a.
Did they say how much the lawsuit was?
No. It's $100,000 in damages.
I mean, I would hate it if that happened to me. Like, I got sued because something my kids happened. But believe you me, if my kids ever did cause me to get sued, they would never ever do that again.
And a lot of them are saying that maybe not sue the kid, but sue the mod creators, the third-party mod creators.
Yeah,
that's probably really who should get sued. Really,
that really mean the person needs to get sued, but it depends where these guys are based at.
Right. Because I mean, ultimately, like the kid didn't create it. He's acquired it legally from the person selling it, but whether the person selling it had a legal right to even sell it in the first place. So that is a good thing there too. Maybe they should sue the people who make it, because that might stop other people. That might prevent other people from being able to cheat. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So maybe that would actually be the right thing to do.
it's just an interesting thing, an interesting topic. I think, I think the kid does deserve some sort of punishment coming his way, even if he's being made an example of, because what's the point of cheating in a first-person shooter anyway?
Is he posting these videos on YouTube?
Well, probably, yeah. But I mean,
go to YouTube and see if you can get YouTube to ban the kid.
I don't know his YouTube address.
Ban his account. So,
man,
people could probably find it out though.
Yeah, probably.
What?
People could probably find out what his channel.
Last topic of the. Go ahead.
I was going to say, if you ban him from posting on YouTube, if YouTube does that, of course you have to talk to that company. Say, hey, this kid is violating our copyright laws. Then YouTube can say, well, we'll ban his account and stuff and everything. So, but as again, two companies have to work together on that. So. That way, the kid doesn't get publicity if he's not posted to YouTube, if that's his major form of platform or any platform that he happens to be using, get him banned from the platform. But that's, I guess that's neither here or there. Yeah. Go on. I'm sorry.
Last topic of the day from us. Just a real quick side note to put in there: PlayStation 4 on Black Friday sold more units on this Black Friday alone this year than any other PlayStation unit on any other day in its 22 history run. Now, granted, they did cut the price of the console down in half, but so you can get the console for $200. Yeah.
Not the Pro, but regular PS4.
Regular PS4.
Yeah, it was $200 down from like 300 some.
Yep, down from 350 to 200, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but even that being the case, in 20
Pro
because they
for
do
like
this.
$399 now.
Well, they do this every year though. They cut the prices of models and try to sell them for Black Friday. But in 22 years, they sold more. We're talking about a console that's already set to outpace the sales of maybe the PlayStation 2, which is, I don't know if you guys know this, the greatest selling console of all time. I mean, PlayStation's just killing it with first-party content exclusives that you can't get anywhere else but on their system. Slew of titles coming out next year alone. We look at the springtime. You've got Shadow of the Colossus remake coming out. A remake, not a remaster, and a from the ground up remake. You got God of War. You got Detroit Become Human. You got
The fuck is this guy doing?
all of these games. I mean, what do you think?
That's pretty cool.
What I think is, because I'm not a console player, but if I was to buy a console, I'd be more attracted to PS4 because I look at it. They got the exclusive content, that these unique games that I can only play on the PS4 versus like Xbox. Well, I can play on my computer. I don't really need to play on Xbox.
Gotcha.
I'm just saying this is the truth. I can play it on my computer. Nintendo Switch, they've had a history for a while now of not grabbing the third-party publishers. Though I understand the Switch is
getting them, yeah.
But they do have that history. So just going based on history, they do have that history. So if I was to look at those consoles, I'm looking, well, my choice would be the PS4. And when you make it that attractive a price, that hey, if I was on the fence now, I'm maybe thinking about buying one, maybe And
it's really kind of under, the Switch, which is it's been more plentiful here lately. Like people are being able to find them on the shelves and supply, but still though, like to be able to undercut the Switch by $100, you know what I mean? On Black Friday, that's good.
I mean, it's just as a company, they're doing the right thing to sell their console. I don't think Xbox is doing the right thing. I think Nintendo's totally coming around. They're just doing things right. What can I say? And it's effective because you look at how many years now they've been console leaders.
Yeah.
So
well, PlayStation's they were not, well, they kind of did squeak out a win at the last generation, but it was more tie than anything, you know what I mean? But they got off to a very slow start and had to play catch up for a long time because of that PS3 price point. But again, we see Xbox One trying to turn it around. You know, Xbox One today is not the same Xbox One that got announced when Don Matrick got up on the stage and said it's going to be an always online console. We're going to have this DRM policy. We're going, you know, no digital copies. We're going, or no physical trading or whatever. Yeah, it's a different Xbox today under Phil Spencer than what it was just, you know, for what 2013 is when those consoles came out. That's, wow,
fuck.
4 years ago. So
Yeah, I mean, let's go to you, Stand-Up. If you only could play on one console, what console would you play on?
I'm a fanboy. That's not fair. No, but
I guess you are a fanboy of PS4.
Nintendo here lately makes a great offering with being able to take like Skyrim on the go. You know what I mean? Like, I really want Nintendo right now.
I mean, yeah, I think Nintendo's heading in the right direction with their Switch. I didn't have a lot of hope for the Switch, but
And I always liked Zelda and Mario, but I've always been a PlayStation fan. But you got to think though, I've been playing PlayStation first party standalone games since the very first PlayStation, and Xbox.
Where the hell did she get a bow?
Xbox's first party lineup just has never. Like when Halo came out and Gears of War came out, those looked like bro dude games. The same people who would play Madden plays those games. You know what I mean? That's not who I am. I played Halo. It was okay.
But,
it's not to me. I didn't think it was the greatest.
To me, you know, PlayStation, because they have their fanboys like you, but they also get they're drawing in the general crowd that are gamers. But what's my best gaming console I got? I own a PC. I want to get some gaming console going on.
That being said,
your logical choice is going to be PS4.
That being said, I am rooting for Xbox. I want Xbox to get their shit together. I want Xbox to do well. Just like I want Nintendo to do good. I want Nintendo to do well. Because competition is healthy. So I don't have anything against Xbox. It's not been particular to me. I wish they had more first-party studios to get me interested in buying their new box. I want an excuse to buy their new box. I want an excuse to get on there and play games that I can't find anywhere else. Unfortunately for them, fortunately for me, they're putting their games on Windows too. So they're really disincentivizing me to buy their box. So I don't know. It's one of those. I want them to do well, but so far they haven't given me a reason to buy their box. But I do want them to do well, because if they're doing well,
the gaming industry does well.
The game industry does well, and like it's that competition. If Xbox is doing good, that makes Sony look at themselves, reflect on themselves, and be like, I got to do better. You know what I mean? Just like if Xbox was the console leader this time around, PlayStation really trying to get on it and catch up, Xbox would have to be like, okay, we have to do better. You know what I mean? Like, so that's how I feel about it. Competition's healthy, and I want all game makers, all game devs. In some way, I want EA to be successful. I don't harp on EA and microtransactions because I don't want to ever play those games. I harp on them so that they make games that I want to play, and games that people will enjoy, and make the gaming community and the development community a better place to be in. Of course, I'm boycotting EA right now along with Activision, but I don't want to boycott them. You know what I mean? I don't want to. You know, it's just a weird place to be in. Like I said earlier in my video today, I don't like being the negative Nancy of the internet a lot, but we've got to have these discussions. You know what I mean? That's how shit gets fixed. So by raising awareness, and the more people who are aware, the more people who speak out, and start their boycotts, the more companies tend to change, and they always generally change for the benefit and betterment of the consumers. So, any final thoughts?
Benefit of the company, otherwise they do.
Well, you know what I mean,
Which the side effect is benefit to the consumer.
Right.
Stocks
Benefit to the
company wants to
consumer.
make money. Side effect is it's good for the consumer.
Thank you for correcting me, Tilgar. But yeah, you get where I was going with that statement.
Yeah. I'm just saying that because companies, there's a lot of people in the gaming world, and I'm sure in other formats too, think that the gaming company owes the players, and it's not. They're there to make money. Free to play games aren't free to play. You got whales who are buying these microtransactions to make that game free to play. And so when I see on the forums on these free to play games that, hey, these guys are playing to win, but it allows you to play.
But there are companies out there.
buying those things.
There are companies out there that do it so good. Like you have CD Projekt Red that puts a thank you letter in each and every single
Christ.
game.
Oh yeah.
And says, thank you for buying our product. Thank you for taking a chance and believing in us. Thank you. And we're going to make the best damn game we can. Yes, we are going to charge you for it, but we want to thank you for taking that leap of faith with us.
Yeah.
And so there are companies out there that have found that balance. And I want more companies to be like that. And I want these headstrong companies that are, seem to have lost their way to regain and find their way. You know what I mean?
I don't know if he ever had that, but personally, they've killed so many.
No,
good games.
EA used to make good games. EA used to make good games back in the day.
If it showed any trouble, they end up killing it.
Yeah.
I played a lot of EA games back in the day, especially when they were on PC a lot. One of my first multiplayer games I played, or online games I played, was Earth and Beyond.
But no, EA used to, they used to make good games back in the day. Like in the early days of Mac, when they had Maxis and they were, or bought Maxis and they were doing some stuff. Or they were publishing for Maxis and stuff. They used to make some good games back in the day. And
Can I just...
They can get back to that again. Final thoughts.
Well, like the wake up call. So
This
that's a wake up call.
fucking battle is impossible.
What game are you playing?
I'm doing the duel against those two fucking assholes.
Oh, in the arena on Assassin's Creed?
And they're fucking impossible.
No, they're not. Separate them. Take them one at a time.
That's what I've been doing. Is fucking
Yeah, I had some troubles with it at first too, but I finally
the
got
dude
it.
with that uses his hands is fucking ridiculous.
Take him first, or take the swing guy first, and just keep dodging.
I wish.
the other
Do you
dude.
get his fucking weapon after this? I hope you do.
No.
Oh, that's bad. That's a badass fucking. Dude, that sight is awesome. I want it.
Take Gladiator. Final thoughts.
I don't know what to say. Yeah. People need to quit being greedy.
Okay.
Companies need to quit being greedy.
Raging Sin's actual final thoughts.
Same. Companies are fucking greedy as fuck, and it needs to stop.
Tilgar. Final thoughts.
Yeah, same here. Is hopefully he learns from overplaying their hand on these microtransactions and they cut it back.
It's not like I don't want EA to make money and be successful, but there, like I said before, there's a right way and a wrong way to do things.
Yeah, there's a right way and a wrong way.
Right, right.
And the companies are out there to make money. I understand that. They're there to make money, as much money as they can. I don't fault them for that, but coming
Right.
and just hammering those damn microtransactions, making it, from what you described to me, making this game a lot about a grind to get those progressions if you don't want to pay for it.
Like make money, but do it in a
Totally wrong.
consumer-friendly fashion.
All right.
Don't
Basically, yeah.
greed.
Okay, that
Don't
battle
make it
wasn't
feel
that
like
bad,
that you had to
actually.
bend over and get fucked in the ass for it.
All right. Well, with that, This has been the Occasional Dilemma Gaming Podcast. I want to
I guess
thank
I'll
each
be
and
editing
every
out.
one of you for listening. Remember that you can find this the rebroadcast over on occasionaldilemma.com/podcast. You can either watch the YouTube video there, or you can download the Podomatic MP3 and take it with you on the go. And make sure you never miss another episode by heading over to youtube.com/Occasional Dilemma Gaming and subscribing. Remember, you can watch live on twitch.tv/Occasional Dilemma, live every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's been a pleasure, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure to all you out there listening. I love your faces, and we'll catch you on the flip side. But until then, have a good one.
Later, Stando. Later, guys.
Getting
Later.
off.
Remember, don't bend over.